morning and welcome to From Market to Table. I'm Sarah Graham and joining us today is Chef Mark Arnold, who you may remember was a regular on our show for how many years?
8 years.
8 years. So he is back as a guest with us today, a guest host with us, and we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And we're going to go ahead and let you get started.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. Today I want to talk about a couple of things that are a little bit different. When I got out of culinary school 50 years ago, I started at a restaurant in Newcastle and pizza was big. And the two of the pizzas I'm going to make today were their staples. One of them is called white pizza. We called it poor man's pizza because it had no meat on it. It has no tomato sauce. It just has cheese, garlic, and olive oil, and a little bit of fresh basil. The other one that I'm going to do is called pizza with greens. And I love this one because you can be as creative as you want. And we're going to add mushrooms, and we're going to add pepperoni and cheese, 3 different kinds of cheese, and you can just go crazy with it. You can add meat of any kind. You can add sausage, bacon, but let's just get started. The first one is pizza with greens, and we're just going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the pizza crust. Now, if you like to make your own pizza crust, just pre-bake it, because this is a pizza that does not take long in the oven. So we just want to cover the shell with a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm using a garlic powder with parsley. You can use a granulated garlic, and then I just discovered this today when I was walking around the store. It has Tuscan blend, garlic and onion, Italian herbs, and crushed red peppers. Any one of those or more than one of those would be a great addition, but I'm making the traditional stuff.
Okay. Oh, and it's labeled as pizza seasonings.
Yes.
Pizza Your Way seasonings. This is great.
I had not seen that until today.
Yeah.
So we're just going to put about 2 teaspoons of garlic on here. And then you can use, here again, any kind of cheese. Tradition is Parmesan. So I'm going to add half Parmesan and half Romano because I like Romano.
They seem relatively interchangeable.
Yes, I think Romano is a little bit sharper.
Yeah,
a little
more bite.
Yeah, and I'll be using Asiago in the pizza with greens.
Well, there's so many cheese options at the store right now, with that whole wall of cheese, and so I love just going through and finding, when we have company, I try to go find ones that we haven't had before to cut up and put out, and everybody enjoys trying all the different kinds.
Yes, I'm a cheese lover, and so I like to try different ones. Okay, this is all there is to it, but we're going to add some basil. And we're just going to add some fresh basil leaves, and I kind of like to press them down a little bit. And if you have a convection oven, I'm going to warn you that the leaves are going to blow away. So you don't want to do this in a convection oven. You want to do this in a conventional oven.
Oh, I love the smell of basil.
Oh yes, yes. It's hard to get too much basil. Now this is a pizza that I would probably serve as an hors d'oeuvre. I would serve it with other finger food. And at the end of the show, I'll show you the finished product. But it's a nice light pizza. It can be served with a salad as the bread. It's just a very simple thing to do. Okay, the second pizza is pizza with greens. And here again, as I said, you can be as creative as you want. Sarah was complaining earlier that I just took over
came
here.
in, takes over all the space. It's okay, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
All right.
I'll share.
What we're going to do here is we're going to add some bell pepper. If you are like David and like hot peppers, this would be the time to add hot peppers. But we're going to just add some sweet bell pepper. I'm going to add some drained canned mushrooms.
And I'm sorry, I missed what's in the bowl. What was in the bowl?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while. This is escarole.
Okay.
about 8 to 9 cups of escarole will cook down to 2 cups. So there's 2 cups, thank you. There's 2 cups of escarole in here. And what you do is you cut it up like you would a salad. So wash it, cut it up, and then I would put about 2 inches of boiling water in the bottom of a pan, and when it's a full rolling boil, add your escarole and cook it for 6 minutes. Then drain it, and when it's cool, then you squeeze it.
Okay.
Because if you don't squeeze it, it'll just be too moist. It holds too much liquid. Thank you for correcting me. So we have the escarole, we have the mushrooms, the bell peppers.
Those are the greens that I use when I make wedding soup.
Yes. I think the reason that this pizza or this product was made at Trogio's was because we made escarole for the wedding soup.
Oh,
and it was,
okay.
If it was left over,
throw it on the pizza.
Throw it on the pizza. So
it's like your must-go night.
Yes.
Chef Mark, when he taught us, I thought this was such a great idea. Maybe I should let you tell the story.
We have a tradition in our family that one day a week we call it must-goes. And what it means is you look in the refrigerator and see what's not going to last, and it must go. So we just serve it.
Find a way to put it all together and have your dinner.
And we've had some very creative meals.
I'm sure.
Okay, so I have added a little bit of olive oil. We're going to add some of the garlic. And then you can add whatever kind of cheese you want. I'm going to add some Asiago. I'm going to add some mozzarella. I like mozzarella because it melts so well. And I'm going to add some Parmesan. Now, if I was doing this, I would not put these on the same cookie sheet because this one only takes about 7 to 8 minutes. This one's going to take about 10. So you don't want to have them on the same cookie sheet, but for demonstration purposes, that's what we're going to do. You want about a total of 1 cup to 1.25 cups of cheese to go with your 2 cups of cooked escarole. And if you're taking notes, probably about 1/4 cup of bell pepper and 1/2 cup of mushrooms. And then we're just going to spoon this on top of our pizza crust.
So these are both considered like a white pizza since there's no sauce.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But we called the white pizza because there's no meat and it's just, that was just what we called it. This one was always just pizza with greens.
Okay.
And you want to pile this up pretty high because it will cook down. It will cook down. You want to get it all the way out to the edges. And like I said, you can add anything you want to this, but the escarole, some people substitute, you talked about making your wedding soup. Some people substitute spinach in their wedding soup. Spinach doesn't work here.
Okay, that's good to know.
Spinach is, when you look at cooked spinach, it just is so flat, whereas the escarole still maintains a little bit of its body. So I would use the escarole, and it's a quick preparation because washing it, just like any lettuce, cut it up, 6 minutes in the boiling water, and then let it drain. So it's a nice, and I think even though it has no red sauce, it really has color.
Oh yeah, yeah, the red bell pepper, and it looks beautiful.
Those are 2 quick, non-traditional pizzas.
Great.
And now Sarah's going to show us a couple of things. She's going to make a salad for us, and then I'll come back and show you a 3rd pizza.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I'm starting out today with a salad in a jar. I don't know if any of you have heard of this. It's kind of like a craze right now where you pre-make a bunch of salads in a jar, and then they stay good in your fridge for up to 5 days. So throughout the week, you just grab one for dinner, grab it, take it for lunch, for your lunch break off of work. So this is super convenient. So normally, you know, you would have a ton of ingredients out, lots of different dressings, but I decided to show you one that's a little bit different than just using just a regular salad. So this is a Southwestern salad in a jar, and I got it from my favorite app, Tasty. And if you go on there, you can find a bunch of different options. I think they have 4 or 5 different options on there. So I'm going to start out with an avocado. And you just need half of it.
Do you have any tricks on how to determine that an avocado is ready?
I don't know that it's a trick. It seems pretty effective. The color seems completely irrelevant. It's just the feel. Okay. So you know, you don't want it to be as hard as a rock, but you don't want it to be mushy. So I'd say almost equivalent to like a banana. Okay. If a banana feels really, really hard, I mean, banana though too, color, you can go by color. But with an avocado, the exterior color doesn't matter at all. Some of them are brown, some of them are more green, but with, it's just the feel of it. You want it to have a little bit of give, but not be able to like push a finger completely into it. Is that's how you find yours? Yeah, we seem to have a lot of success. We have avocado at least once a week. I used to drink it in a smoothie every morning, but I don't take the time to do that now.
Well, I just know that that's a question that I get asked quite often.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that I was telling them the right thing.
Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, then I rolled out the lime so that we can juice it. So we have a half of an avocado and the juice of 1 lime. Limes juice really nicely with just sticking a fork in and twisting while you squeeze. Lots and lots of juice. Rolling it softens it so that it works better as well. Then garlic to your liking. The recipe calls for 2 cloves. And I think, what is it, a teaspoon? Is this supposed to be the equivalent to a clove?
Yes. But this jarred garlic is hard to beat. It really is.
Right. Yeah, and this is one that, you know, I don't feel guilty for using something in a jar rather than using fresh, because this one's just in water. You can get it in olive oil, you can get it organic, and and it still seems to maintain the same flavor and the same usability as if you like got a fresh clove out. Now my dad does grow garlic, so I do use the garlic out of his garden though too.
We joined a CSA last year and got lots of garlic and lots of shallots.
Oh, okay.
And we just peeled them and froze the cloves, and they come out of the freezer and they're very easy to use. And it's great.
Oh, I need to share that with my mom, because we can never keep them long enough. Good. Right. So you just peel it and freeze the clove.
Now you don't smash them like you typically do. It's kind of tedious to peel them, but you peel them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and they're in the freezer ready to go.
Okay. That sounds great. All right, so I added about a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a cup of water. Now, if you want this really, really, really well blended, like a ranch dressing would be, you can put this in a blender or a food processor. I don't feel picky enough about it, and I like to use the pastry blender. I feel like it does a little bit better with the avocado than a fork does, although with the liquid in here, probably should have mashed it up first. So yeah, if you want a nice creamy dressing, then I recommend using a blender. And I know you've probably been missing my Vitamix, so I was tempted to bring it just so you could see it and hear it, because that was, you know, my go-to. I used it a lot.
I think I agree with you. If you want a nice smooth dressing, that would be the way to go. But I kind of like a crunchy, chunky dressing.
Yeah, and having the avocado in there. And now usually we're concerned about the avocado browning, but the lime juice, the citric acid and the lime juice will help stop that from happening. So then we're just going to, and again, this is like chunky and watery, so if you want a smoother dressing, it does cream up really nicely anytime you blend in avocado. Let's see how this works. Ha ha ha. Success. Okay. So you're just going to pour this into the bottom of your mason jar. Then you're just going to layer the other ingredients. So in this one, since it's a Southwestern one, I have a half a cup of green bell pepper. My 8-year-old was very excited. She had a unicorn themed birthday party. And I was like, can I use your leftover cups, honey? She's like, yes. She was very excited to be using them on the show today. So, all right, so we got about a half a cup of a green bell pepper and a half a cup of corn. I like the Wild Harvest organic corn. Corn is one of those crops that about 90-some% of it is genetically modified if you don't buy organic or labeled non-GMO. So with corn, I do always try to get organic. Then I have a half a cup of cherry tomatoes, and I found these new ones. I don't know how well you can see this. Let me hold it up against something white. Nope, that doesn't work because it's white. Just kidding. I'll hold it up against my. Okay, so these are grown in Ohio. And Chef Mark and I were talking, it says they're greenhouse grown, but it's still, today's the first day of spring when we're filming, and they are delicious. So I don't know how this company is doing it.
For this time of year, they're amazing.
Yes, they are very sweet, very flavorful. So a half a cup of tomatoes. And again, like when you're at home and you're chopping up a bunch of different vegetables, you can just eyeball all of this and you just fill it up with whatever you want. All right, then the next thing we have here is a quarter cup of quinoa. So this is great because this adds your protein. We've talked a lot about how quinoa is the only non-meat product that is a complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids. So
and it's so versatile.
Yes, yep. You can use that for pretty much any meal of the day. And then I have a half a cup of black beans, and I did the Wild Harvest brand for this as well, and they had spicy ones, and I thought that would be really good in a Southwestern dish. So a half a cup of black beans. And then we are going to top it off with some fresh spinach. And I did not pre-open this. All right, lift and hold. There we go. And I got we have the baby spinach, organic. It's ready to go, thoroughly washed, ready to eat. So that's super convenient. You can just open it up and you just top it off with your spinach.
How tightly do you pack it?
I make it pretty tight because I feel like everything's gonna absorb, and I don't know. I fill it to the top. I like to have the greens in there.
I like baby spinach. I think it's so much better than the mature.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't have my lid today, but you'd normally just put your lid on, and then you could, like I said, you can store this in the fridge for up to 5 days. And then when you're ready to eat it, you just give it a nice shake and you can eat it right out of the container if you'd rather have it in a bowl. And as you can see, this is definitely like shareable. Yes. And if you don't want to eat, if you don't need something this large, then you can definitely, save your spaghetti jars or save, I buy jarred sauerkraut, and they're a nice little size and they're wide, so they're convenient to eat out of the jar. So, just save and wash any of your jars. You don't have to go out and buy ball jars to do this. And I would definitely, making this at home, use like a smaller jar. So
you would make it in individual portions, typically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So I'd make smaller jars. But I mean, for my husband who goes and works a ton of hours and has like maybe 15 minutes to eat one thing, he's like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
The whole thing. So, all right. So there's our Southwestern salad in a jar. And are you ready to do your next thing for us?
Ready.
Okay, great.
I'm fascinated. I've never done the salad in a jar. Okay. We're going to do a modification of the pizza with greens. Same 2 cups of escarole. We're going to add some olive oil. We're going to add our garlic or other spices as you like. And for this one, I'm going to add about 2.5 to 3 ounces of pepperoni. We're going to add a quarter to a half a cup of bell peppers or hot peppers or whatever kind of peppers you like. We're going to add some Asiago, some provolone, and then probably just top it off with either mozzarella or one of the other drier cheeses, and I'm going to use Romano today. And we'll mix that up. And then we're going to use the cooler case refrigerated pizza dough. This is so versatile. It can be used in the bottom of a casserole, like for a breakfast casserole. It can be used for making a flat pizza. It can be used for making a pizza roll. It's a great product. And we're just going to roll it out on parchment paper or on a floured countertop. And we're just going to stretch it a little bit, maybe 2 inches in each direction. And my parchment paper isn't being very cooperative.
Need an extra hand?
I think we're good. Thank you. Thank you. And then we'll just place our greens in this, down the center of this. And this would probably make 3 to 4 generous portions. Want to take it almost to the end in both directions. And then we'll roll it up. And you want to always bake it with the seam on the bottom. So after you have sealed the ends, you want to roll it over so that the seam is on the bottom. Place it on your cookie sheet and pop it in the oven, a 375 to 400 degree oven, depending on what you have, your oven at home. Every oven is different. The oven here at the store is a little warmer than mine at home. So I would say 12 to 14 minutes. If your oven's a little slower, maybe up to 16 minutes. But you want all that cheese inside to melt and all those flavors to blend. But same essential ingredients as the pizza with greens, but this makes a stromboli type, and it can be the full meal. Now, with the pizza, the flat pizza, I wouldn't recommend this, but with this one, maybe a little dish of heated pizza sauce to dip in really adds to it. So if you really like your tomato products, you can dip this into your regular pizza sauce. But escarole is such a neat thing because it takes on other flavors, and you just...
It doesn't hold a bitterness that a lot of greens do. I was really hesitant. Well, my sister-in-law taught me how to make wedding soup, and so I would always forget which one I was supposed to get, and then I realized that it rhymed with her name, Escarole Nicole. So that's how I remember which greens to get, because I think one time I got something different, and I was like, greens are greens, right? And then I made it, and I was like, oh no, this is not right. And you cannot pull greens out of your soup, people. It doesn't happen.
Another caution with escarole. Oftentimes, escarole is kind of sandy, and if you don't get it washed before you cook it, you can't get the sand out of it either.
Oh, that would not be good. So wash it very well.
I've been in restaurants and ordered fried greens and had it gritty.
Oh no.
So you want to make sure you wash it. And another little hint, when you wash it, lift your greens out of the water. Don't drain the water, because the grit will go back on them. So you want to lift your greens out, and you'll notice how dark the water is. So when you're washing it, make sure you wash it thoroughly before you cook it. So,
good tip.
Okay.
Very good tip. Okay, thank you.
Pop that in the oven and show the finished product in a minute.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so my second and our last recipe of the day, I'm going to make muffin tin granola cups, and these are really fun and really easy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. You wanna take one medium-sized ripe banana, because we are going to mash it. All right, just gonna break it up a little bit and mash it up in our bowl. Since I already used my pastry blender for my avocado, I'll use the fork for this one. I do love that pastry blender though to mash things.
Yeah.
We use it to make guacamole all the time. It's so much easier. And the kids like to use it because it looks like special. Mm-hmm. Something different. It's not just a fork. It makes it a little bit more fun. Okay, so that's all mashed up. Then I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup of honey. And I like the Wild Harvest organic wildflower honey. There's also some really good local honeys here at the store, which they've done some studies, and I think I may have mentioned this before, that for those of you who suffer seasonal allergies, especially ones that are pollen related, they've done some studies that show that if you consume local honey on a regular basis, that it can decrease your allergies for that season.
Oh my.
And that makes sense if you think about it. You're like ingesting honey made from the pollen and everything from those flowers, and so you're putting small amounts of it in you, which would then reduce the amount of reactivity that you would have when you consume them. I don't know, I thought it was very intriguing to me.
I'll just drink the whole jar.
Right, yeah, right? Oh, make me eat honey, okay. No, honey's so good for you too, especially raw, local. Okay, so 1/4 cup of honey. Then we're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And about a teaspoon of salt. We have grinders at home, so I'm glad though that you can get sea salt. And these ones now, it used to be that you could only get it in the big chunks, and then when you need to measure.
I'm glad to see Sarah pour that in her hand. I'm teaching a young man a cooking class, and I told him, always measure it into the spoon and pour it into your hand so you can determine, so that after you've had 20 or 30 trials, you know what a teaspoon looks like.
Yes, and don't have to.
Thank you.
Yeah, like for this one, for example, where you can't quite get the spoon down in there, it's like, well, now what?
If you
What do I
learn
do?
what it looks like in your palm, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, and now I need a teaspoon of cinnamon as well. But look, now I'm going to put the spoon in here because I'm still a little bit OCD. So this is more out of necessity because my spoon won't fit.
Okay.
I'm trying. Okay, so then we added, so far we have banana, honey, vanilla, salt, cinnamon. We're gonna mix that all up. And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of oats. And you can do the old-fashioned oats, you can do the quick oats. But these are going to be our little cups.
Don't you feel that the old-fashioned is better because it's less processed?
Yes, okay. Nutritionally, definitely. It's less processed, and anytime you eat something, the closer to nature that you can consume something, the better. If you're only eating egg whites, your body will instinctively crave the fat that it was missing with that egg. So if you eat things that have been very altered from their natural state, your body's going to crave. So be mindful of that. If you're catching yourself craving things, ask yourself what you ate that was altered. Although so much of our diets are so very much altered, it's hard to keep track. Okay, I think these are good, but I had spray, but I'm not going to worry about it. So then all you're going to do is, this only makes 6, so you can definitely double this, but you're going to scoop a bit into the tins. And I'll just show you how to do too for time's sake. And you're just going to form it into a little cup in the tin. So you want to make sure there's enough on the bottom because we are going to fill these cups. And then after you have put all of your oat mixture in the tins and formed them into the little cups, you're going to put them in the refrigerator for at least an hour. And then you're going to bake them in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. And I think that's because the oats need some time to soak up all of the liquid that you just mix with them. So that hour, and then also just to, well, when you do cookies and things, there are ones that you refrigerate. Can you explain that better than I might be able to do, why you refrigerate it before you cook it?
Well, a refrigerator cookie is one of the 6 types of cookies, and you refrigerate it so that when you put it in the oven, it's not going to spread as much.
Okay.
Because
when it's warmer,
the heat causes the shortening to spread. Well, it only has so much time until the leavening agent kicks in, and when the leavening agent kicks in, it kind of stops. So that's why refrigerator cookies.
I'm so glad I asked you that. I knew you would know. I knew you would have the answer to that. That's fabulous. Okay, so you'll fill these, and something important to know, especially if you're using nonstick cookware, fill these with water if they're not full with a product, because these ones that are non-stick can actually release a chemical from the non-stick chemical that's on here if there's not something inside of them. So you want to make sure that you fill any tins that don't have any products.
You don't have to fill them. I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Not fill.
Don't try to carry this to the oven.
No, not full. Not full. Yes,
like a half an inch of water would be good.
Put some water in it, a small amount of water.
I've learned that people take you literally.
Yes. No, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so after they've cooked for 30 minutes, they come out like this, and they smell beautifully banana-y, and they're nice and crispy brown on the edges, and they're a little bit soft from the banana. So, and what we're going to do next, and I'm excited, I'll tell you very briefly, I found today this yogurt. I love yogurt, but it's so full of sugar or artificial sugar, which we try to avoid in our house, that I don't eat it too much just because of the amount of sugar. But I found this today, and it's by Light and Fit is the brand name, but it's called Too Good, TWO Good. There are only 2 grams of sugar, so I expected to pick it up and see artificial sweetener in there then, but there isn't. They use stevia, which is from a leaf, so it's a natural alternative sweetener. So there's 2 grams of sugar plus stevia, so it'll still be nice and sweet, and there's nothing artificial, just natural sugar, but less of it. So this made me excited. And this one's vanilla. You can use plain Greek yogurt. There's plenty of sweetness in your muffin, in your granola cups, that you don't need a flavored or even sweetened yogurt at all. But I wanted to show this because I was excited about it. So you're just going to put a dollop of whatever kind of yogurt you would like into your cups. And then top it with different nuts, berries, different kinds of fruit, strawberries, mangoes. Today I did strawberries and kiwi and blueberries just because you all know me. I like things to look pretty, and these 3 are 3 different colors, and so it'll just be more colorful. Appealing to my eyes is appealing to my belly. But this would be something fun to sit out with different types of yogurt, different types of fruit and nuts, and let your children or your guests or whoever.
Going to say, let your kids get involved. This would be a great thing to get your kids involved with.
How fun is that?
And now that I have grandchildren, I'm always looking for
something fun like this, and it's nutritious, and they can be involved in every single step of it. Or if you don't, they could be content enough probably to let you present the cups, and they can just do the yogurt and the topping. So there's our muffin tin granola cups, our salad in a jar.
And we have the pizza with grains. You can see the cheese is
beautiful.
melted in there. I've cut the white pizza into smaller pieces because I said I would use it as a bread or I would use it as an appetizer. And then you can see the pizza with greens, the stuffed
so good.
stromboli type. And so 3 different things that are so flexible. You can add whatever. You can brown up some sausage. You can add bacon. I wouldn't go into the pineapple and the crazy things like that, but anything that you would traditionally put in a pizza, black olives, just nice little take on pizza that's not the red sauce.
And I like how you presented this one, since you are doing it as more of an appetizer. When it's not like this, it looks like an appetizer now, even though it also started out as just a regular round pizza shell.
Right.
So it's nice to see a different way to present it, and it just kind of communicates to everyone like, this isn't your dinner, don't panic.
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
Well, it's been a pleasure being back.
Yes, it was so nice to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll join us again soon. And we hope that you will enjoy trying out these new recipes at home. Stay healthy, stay happy, and until next time, we'll see you at the market.